Hello, welcome to Forget Genetics. My name is Barry. This is my son Barry. Either when you're talking on Instagram or Facebook, one of those sites, you're actually talking to one of the two of us. Everything that happens, it comes from both of us here. We had a great 2020 year. Our country didn't with the coronavirus, but we battled through it. We picked up a lot of new dealers out there. We're looking forward to 2021. We wanted to take a step back before we get into our 2021 year. As our seasons are ending, our friends down in the southern states are still out there trying to hit that rut in Alabama. But we wanted to sum our year up a little bit. We have a lot of questions that came into us. We just wanted to talk to a little bit. Those of you that stand by and watch the rest of this video, you'll understand we may answer some of the questions you may have had throughout the season. One of the biggest questions we get asked here at Forget Genetics is, first and foremost, is about our name. 100% believe in genetics. However, in years past, we completely believe that there was so much emphasis put on genetics, people forgot about nutrition. Yeah. So let's call that spike buck. Let's shoot every spike buck out there. Let's shoot every...
They'll never grow.
They'll never grow. Let's shoot every ding-dong deer out there because, oh, it's got a bad side this year. But we spent years and years and years calling these non-genetic bucks. But now all of a sudden... well, nothing's changed. We still got all these spike bucks and we still got all these ding-dongs.
Yep.
So that's why we put our name in to Forget Genetics. We're more emphasized on the nutritional value and actually putting proper nutrition into these deer. We have used many products over the years with mediocre success rates. Some products out there that are still on the brand, that are still on the shelves in their big box stores, that were great back in the day, but nah, not so much.
They got big and then they just, quality went downhill, so...
It can say 20% crude protein in the bag, but it's still not what used to be in that bag.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we strive for here at Forget Genetics is putting that quality in that bag for you, the customer, because we use the same products that you use. We used to do the same thing. We used to get those 50-pound blocks from one of the tractor stores.
Yep.
Can't say the name.
Yep.
Like $7.
Last all season.
Absolutely. And you will get some deer pictures. Well, one of the couple of things with these big box store salt blocks, these 50-pounders, there are no antler growing essentials in those blocks. No. There's a lot of salt in those blocks. Yep. Deer love salt. No matter what time of the year, deer love salt. So yes, it'll attract deer. And one thing about those salt blocks as well is you'll notice when you start using them, the only time they really work is when it rains. So next time you go out there and you have the salt blocks, and we're not taking away from those guys that use those or ladies out there that use those, next time you take a look at the sides of those blocks. When the rain comes down, the water drips down on the sides of those, it goes into the earth. And that's where the deer are pulling at. The deer are going after that. Now you can sit a salt block next to that mineral block, and you honestly see this. You'll see the difference in this. They'll sit there and lick that salt lick all day, but that mineral block, not so much.
And the key thing is you're missing some of the minerals that you think you're getting in there that the deer need and are essential, but you're not getting that. You're getting just a big block that doesn't give the deer everything that they want.
These blocks are designed for cattle farms. We have a biologist here on staff, Jake. He's our volunteer staff biologist. He's in Kentucky. He owns a big cattle farm out there, and he's one of our firm believers in our products. He's watched deer walk right past all these mineral blocks, right to our mineral sites itself. And again, our minerals are slightly different than some of the competition minerals out there, which brings us into the next thing I want to talk about. So there's a lot of competition out there in the field that we're getting into as far as minerals and feeds and so on and so forth. But we use a pretty much 1-to-1 calcium to phosphorus ratio. A lot of companies out there, it is true when you grind up the antlers, it'll be a 2-to-1, 22% calcium to 11% phosphorus. And that's, the biologists will read that left and right. But we looked at it as a white-tailed deer is a forager, and they're eating all day long. They're moving about. We're supplementing that. We're not getting 100% from us. So what they lack in our product that they're not going to get, they're going to get while they're out there foraging around. They're going to get as they're out there doing their normal routine and eating. So having 14 to 17, 18% phosphorus and calcium is great, and it's okay, but the deer is going to pass most of it.
Yep.
So they're gonna by liquid form, they're just gonna get rid of it, just like us. We take a vitamin. We eat a vitamin every day. What happens when you don't need all that vitamin? Your urine turns bright orange, it turns bright colors, and it stinks. You're losing all that. So why put all that in a bag for just the animal to waste?
Yeah.
So that's why we're at a 1-to-1, and we're kind of in the medium ground for some of our competitors.
Not just that, some of these, calcium, phosphorus, if you have too much of one, bad taste in deer's mouth. And if you have bad taste in deer's mouth, 9 times out of 10, that deer's not going to come back to that location. Okay? They want something that's always tasting good, always smelling good, and is better for them.
That's a great point. We call it sour mouth. Deer are a little different than us. Wild deer, that is. Pen deer and wild deer, like a lot of our products are no high fence farm testing. We're all about natural deer in their environments. I have relatives that raise deer, and we don't test our products. We never test our products within their farms. But you're right. They get what's called sour mouth. So too much phosphorus is just like licking something and burning your tongue. It's just too much. And a deer, it'll turn a deer off. Yes, they're attracted to these minerals, and they'll come into these minerals. But the difference between some of those and what we have is on our cameras, we'll sit there and watch these animals just chewing down and eating and eating and
for
eating.
Hours.
Hours. Which segues me into what I want to talk about next. A lot of the big box stores, or a lot of the bigger companies out there, they put their minerals into a 4-pound block, and you throw these blocks out there. Great idea. We're actually working on something along those lines, a little different. And when I say a little different, you'll understand why when I explain. If you take a 4-pound mineral block, you can throw it out there in front of your camera. Yes, you're going to get deer pictures. Deer are going to come in, they're going to lick that block. However, they're not going to get everything out of that block that they need. So that 7% phosphorus, that 8% phosphorus, sorry, it's my dog's upstairs, they're not going to get all those essentials out of it. What I mean, going back to the vitamin, if I take a daily vitamin, I just eat it. If I were to take that daily vitamin and lick it all day, I would have to lick it all day long to get all that, the essentials out of that into my body. Same thing with the salt, or those phosphorus, same thing as those mineral blocks. You can't lick it and get everything you need out of it.
It takes way too long for you to get what you would equal out for your essential needs. Like you were saying about chewing, taking the vitamin all in one whole. If you sit there and lick it, it might take you 10 hours to lick that whole vitamin. Well, by that time, you need to take another vitamin. Well, that's the whole thing there. Deer's not going to sit there and lick that for 2-3 hours at a shot. They're there maybe 15, maybe up to an hour, and then they're going.
So you don't want to miss your window. You want to make sure that you give them everything they need when they're there, and that goes into what we're talking about. What we're actually designing and developing is a salt block that actually degrades. So as you stick it out there, as it weathers, the whole block will degrade. So you can put it in your pocket, you can walk in the woods with it, throw it where you want it, and then it'll actually degrade into the ground. So that way, they don't have to lick it then. It'll actually turn into a viable, chewable media that you would get in the bags. With minerals, you claim to be year-round. You're not. You don't just put them out during February, March, April, May, and then that's it. No, with our minerals, again, our minerals and our ideology here at Forget Genetics is slightly different. It's one of the reasons we actually flavor infuse our minerals. So our minerals now become an attractant as well as a healthy supplement for the deer itself.
You're getting all the bang for your buck is what he's trying to say.
Absolutely. So you can stick these minerals out 365 days a year. The deer are going to take these minerals in 365 days a year. They're healthy for the animal. So instead of just dumping a powder on the ground and hoping something comes into it, this is actually something that's essential that the deer is actually going to need. Same thing. You're dumping it on the ground, having the deer come into it. But this deer actually needs this. It needs these essentials. It's healthy for the does when during pregnancy, during nursing, the bucks during antler growth, the key months during antler growth, as the bucks are pulling from their bones to grow those antlers on their head. This is supplementing their bone, their restructuring of bone growth.
And talking about the main thing would be nursing, right? You have the male, you have the doe, and then you have the fawn. Well, if you're feeding the doe all these healthy proteins, vitamins, and she's getting everything she needs, not just from foraging, but from your mineral site or your feed site, that's going straight to the fawn. So what's that fawn going to do? It's going to grow up healthy. We have fawns from does now that they dropped late this year, and they were full-grown does already because they're getting all the protein they need. They don't have competition like every other deer out there would. Okay, so you're the main thing is you're taking away competition. The deer have a lot of competition out there with a whole bunch of others. So if you bring in your own feed site, your own mineral site for the majority of the year besides hunting season, because some states don't allow that, you're taking away all that competition. So you're growing bigger deer.
And these are supplemental feed sites. You're never going to feed a deer 100%. And a lot of times, some of these other products are focused on just that, feeding a deer 100%, feeding that deer feed. Almost that pen environment. We don't practice that at all. It's not about high fence farms. Again, we know people, we're related to people that have done the high fence farm things. It's nothing we're part of. So we focus more on us, the regular hunters, the guys that are going out there in the weekends and trying to bag these big bucks. And here in the East Coast, we're a little behind anyway on our minerals, unlike those folks out there in the West that they grow those gigantic animals out there. So we're just trying to play catch up here and try to help the everyday person out. Supplemental feeding. This is getting what my son was talking about here. Some of our properties, it's really weird. This last year was so strange for us.
Yeah, it was.
We had our buck hanging onto those antlers longer than we've ever had in the past, and it was so odd. Like this year, a lot of our animals have already shed.
Yep, they're all done.
And we still had some of our nice buck we were watching holding on to antlers in March, and it was just a strange year. And then our late drops in our fawn population, and that was Pennsylvania properties, Delaware properties, and Maryland properties. I mean, all of them were off key this year slightly. It was just that whole 2020 thing, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the case was, but
definitely took a hit everywhere. So
we sure did. And but here in Pennsylvania on our property, we watched our doe drop seriously late. I mean, we were like, are we ever going to drop? But by the end of the season, our yearlings were the same size as full-grown,
they were
female does.
definitely mature enough to live on their own.
Yeah, very mature. We use our own products. We use our feed sites. We set up our feed sites, and we practice what we preach. On our feeder amplifier bags, we mix 1 bag of feeder amplifier per 150 pounds of corn or soybeans. Soybeans are really good, but they're really pricey, so a lot of folks just stick with the corn.
Yeah.
And the reason we went this route is we know a lot of folks feed corn, and there's a lot of stigma out there against corn, acidosis, elf's foot, things like that. And corn isn't as bad as what people all make it out to be. Corn, yes, can be bad. If it's a primary source of feed for a deer, it can be bad. There's states out there that get, in the western parts of the United States, to get snow that bad, they actually have farmers go out there and spread corn so that the animals, because they can't forage, there's just that much snow. But so we do is we looked at that concept, and we don't want to change your ideology on feeding corn, because you're going to do it no matter whether we want you to or not. But that's why we come up with a feeder amplifier. It's a higher crude protein with a 1% and higher phosphorus and calcium rates that you mix in with your corn. It's also infused with flavor. So besides pulling more deer in, is keeping them on that site. Having it, you're setting yourself up for that fall success. They're getting those essentials in there. Now, when we set that feeder site up, we run our feeder sites 365 days a year as well. We do slim them back during the winter months, because we don't want any. There's less water, so we are very concerned about our acidosis problems and everything else. We do slim our timers back. But we do also run a mineral site always by our feeder. It's off to the side, 10, 15 feet away, but we always run one there. And we have cameras everywhere, and cameras are key to hunter success. Having those cameras out there and seeing which way the deer are coming and going, that's a huge portion of putting your homework in. But we put mineral sites to and from that feeder site. So some of your buck may not always come in there, so they may just hit that mineral site coming in. Or if they're there, they may just hit the mineral site and the feed and then move on. So we try to use those proactively together. You can run one without the other. If I was going to run one and one only, like we actually do, here in Pennsylvania, we actually do run some mineral sites. So we go out to some Pennsylvania game lands in the middle of nowhere. And no one knows where they are, so we take the secret truck out there, and we hop some of these stumps up out there. We don't hunt there either, by the way. It's one of the things that we try to give back, and so we go out there and we put some more minerals out there, and we watch the stumps just get shredded to nothing. And hopefully, guys are out there just hammering those deer, but we like getting them on camera, and we just like seeing that wild aspect of it, not something that was and like private land guys. So we have private land as well, so it's fun to watch our deer grow, but it's also fun to watch those wild deer grow.
You want your neighbor's deer to grow as big as yours. That way they're not, coming to get your deer. So
that's another thing. I'm glad you brought up neighbors, Barry.
There you go.
Because we always talk to some of our customers, What do I do to get to neighbors' deer on my property? As funny as that sounds, the flavor-infused trace minerals.
Yes.
Flavor-infused trace minerals. Unbelievable. We have a customer here, local, friend of ours, had that problem. Mm-hmm. They can see the deer. Every time he's in the stand, I can see the deer. I can see the deer in the neighbor's property. How do I get those deer into my stand? Set this mineral site up. Get yourself a log. I thoroughly enjoy finding old rotten logs or old rotten stumps. Not something that's green, but you can do it on a green stump. But if you get a good old rotten log, you pour that half a bag of minerals on there, set your camera, walk away from it, you're going to have deer on that camera. From a game warden here in Pennsylvania that we have actually made a YouTube video, put it up online.
Yep.
And it shows you how you take a wash basin, or you can take something small and take planting soil, our minerals, stick it in there, dig a hole in the ground, stick the whole box in the ground. When the season comes, 30 days prior, pop that out of the ground. No residue, no nothing, but you got your deer patterned already. Mm-hmm. When the season's over, you take that same box back out, stick it back in the ground, and you're ready to go for
mobile licking sites.
Absolutely.
Mobile licking sites.
Absolutely. And there's nothing shady about it. You're good to go, and you're staying well within your rights and the law.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so our product testers, it's been a great road with these folks, and we just love that feedback. As well as we want feedback from you guys out there, the folks that are using our products, the folks that are watching these videos all the way through. You know, this is if you stayed with us through the whole video, thank you. We really appreciate it. But we want to hear back from you guys. Do you want to see more videos from us talking about products, talking about our deer management, how we can actually we can help you folks out? Send your questions into us. We want to help you.
Yeah. How do you, if you want a breakdown on how to use a corn lolly here in the talking booth, or if you want us to do live videos, we can do live Q&As. If you have something like if you have a question, 9 times out of 10. There's somebody else with that question. So no question is a dumb question. Trust us. Okay. We love talking about our products. We love talking about hunting, growing big deer, management.
Your success is our success.
Exactly.